Mabusia for me chachi obi asama obi bia akwa abaye de ba nkasa TV nkasa kase eboso na adrusi mjidi so oba de government obi bia ho ye de amomi embo ran nanse muntintim ya ne nkopie wo esise trending news asise edi atesi o man yimu na Okudzeto ansem ya na lawyer Paul the important documents bi ababonten concerning about Okudzeto nsensem na se de na so ya show court pa enya asem kutu nsem ne kwakutie ensen munchemu ana se documents no emu nsem abasisi a se ne ne de edika otie nkase mema remfise obe subscribe to our channel be like na chese de bi e de bitum bi ansa aka mema remfise odo ajinche so be comment section kama be de obi bi ase.
The matter is before ßrããk, and I'm happy that in his response, Reverend Kwesi Boateng accepted and welcomed the challenge that Okudzeto is sending him to the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and he tells all of us that he will be able to establish his own innocence. I pray to God and I sincerely hope that Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa is wrong on this matter, even though I take him very seriously because the allegations that he's raising are dastardly. Let's look at them right now. Okay, so let's put Ablakwa's statement on the screen. Let's go through the statements of Ablakwa. It's about the National Cathedral. You know that I'm a cathedral fundamentalist. I've always said that. I'm still a cathedral fundamentalist. Ablakwa is suggesting that behind the cathedral, some people have been doing things that speak towards corruption, etc., etc. We cannot have corruption around the National Cathedral of all places, isn't it? Okay, so let's look at the details of what he says. I read. The Northern MP, Honorable Ablakwa, has accused the Secretary of the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, Reverend Kwesi Boateng, of the following. Okay, the allegation number one, and we've summarized it here. Alleged fraudulent ownership of JNS Talent Company. Okay, it says that one JNS Talent Company, which Mr. Ablakwa alleges has no history of construction, received 2.6 million Ghana cedis from the National Cathedral Secretariat. He further alleges that Reverend Kwesi Boateng owns this company. So what Ablakwa is saying? He's saying that as secretary to the National Cathedral project, Reverend Kwesi Boateng received to himself 2.6 million Ghana cedis from the National Cathedral Secretariat. Okay, we don't know whether that's true or not, but we can get into the details and find out more. Allegation number two, the alleged use of multiple passports. Now, this is the most disturbing part. The alleged use of multiple passports. The other day, when my friend, what's his name again? Vomaho changed his name. I came here and I was complaining about it. That you are one time Oliver Baka this, and then your names change. And I was saying about myself that I've kept the same name from class 1 up until now. It's the same name. Paul Adumochi is the only name I have. So when people are mixing their names and changing their names, you have to be suspicious of them, especially if they are presenting it publicly. When they come into public life, the name you used to know them by changes. So I've made that point already. Ablakwa is alleging that against my friend Reverend Kwesi Boateng. It's very, very disturbing. He says that Reverend Kwesi Boateng uses 2 passports. A normal and a diplomatic one, which is normal for many people anyway, which bear the name Kwabena Edujemfi. This name was not on the incorporation documents of the cathedral. So he says that when the cathedral was being incorporated, Reverend Kwesi Boateng, presenting himself as the owner of the TNS company, used a different name to present himself in that regard. The last allegation is as follows. That when the National Cathedral of Ghana was being incorporated on the 19th of July 2019, Reverend Victor Kwesi Boateng used his driving license for the registration. The said driving license bears the name Boateng Victor Kwesi. Oh, but it's not the same. So Victor Kwesi Boateng and Boateng Victor Kwesi, that's the same, isn't it? Viewers, you can send me your text messages and then let's discuss this matter, because I take a personal interest in this. Very, very disturbing, isn't it? Okay, so now let's analyze this again. So Reverend Victor Kwesi Boateng, and this one is Boateng. So Boateng cancels out Boateng, Victor cancels out Victor, and Kwesi cancels out Kwesi. So it's really the same name. One is arranged as Victor Kwesi Boateng, and the other one is Boateng Victor Kwesi. There are no compound names in there, so I'm guessing that's not a problem. But let's go on. It says, with different dates of birth captured, that's where the problem is, as 0709-1971, making him 2 years younger than what is presented in the Kwabena Edujemfi passport. I don't like that one bit. I don't like that one bit. And I sincerely hope that this is not correct. I don't like that one bit. But I'm happy that Reverend Kusi Boateng has accepted the challenge to explain these matters and even threaten legal action. So that's the end of the allegations raised. So the main focus of the allegation is not even the rearrangement of names, but it is about the change of date of birth. So that if the date of birth is the same, then that's okay. But the change of date of birth. Okay, let's get down and see what Reverend Kusi Boateng said, how he responded to this allegation. Let's get there very quickly. If you can put that on the screen for us to look at. It's very, very disturbing for us. So yes, so that's the document signed by Reverend Kusi Boateng. And it's on, I believe, his own letterhead. It's 16 January 2023, and it says regarding the National Cathedral, allegations of corruption, conflict of interest, and dual identity against Reverend Kusi Boateng. Okay, this is what he says. He says, I have taken note of some defamatory publications, and I'm happy that he's calling it defamatory. Can you put it on the screen for viewers to see, please? Yes, okay. It says, I have taken note of some defamatory publications and allegations made against my person by Samuel Okudzeto MP for North Tongue. I am, he says, also informed that Mr. Ablakwa has petitioned the Commissioner of Human Rights and Administrative Justice to investigate the said allegations that he has leveled against me. He goes on. He says, I wish to assure the general public that the statements made by Mr. Ablakwa are a twisted narration of events to pursue a malicious political agenda. I like that. I like when he says that, because it has to be that. I mean, if it's not that, and that's really disturbing for a man of God of his stature to be facing allegations of fraudulent misrepresentation, and purported forgery to deceive the general public and to benefit from public funds. That's not an allegation that we should be leveling against a man of God. And Reverend Kusi Boateng, I can vouch for him. I mean, you don't have to take my vouching for him, I'm not God, but I can vouch for him that he's a great man. He was on the show here. We spoke about National Cathedral, and people in Kumasi testified to his abilities and his closeness to God and his spiritual sanctity. So when these allegations are leveled against him, it's particularly worrying. I have to state again that I have a bias in this matter. I sincerely hope that Samuel Okudzeto is wrong. But let's go on. It says, Mr. Ablakwa, a twisted narration of events to pursue a malicious political agenda. There has never been any criminal intent nor any crime committed in my dealings with the government of Ghana or the National Cathedral. He says. He finally says that I will continue to contribute my quota to the National Cathedral project and offer my services to the country to the best of my ability. Did he not say something like he will also sue Ablakwa in the process? There are other documents about this that Paul, the boss of the National Cathedral, has also cited. And maybe we'll get to that as well. So I'm just urging both parties that let's have calm. I sincerely hope Ablakwa is wrong. I don't know whether he's wrong, but I sincerely hope that Reverend Kusi Boateng is right. That's what I have to say about the National Cathedral. We have some videos of the National Cathedral. Let them show it, and then I can run through it. But today is not a very good day because of this allegation. It's a very, very bad story. It's a story that so there is the National Cathedral, something that I support fundamentally, that Ghana should be able to build it, whether with public funds or with private funds. Is something that the country spiritually needs. This is the area that has been delineated for the National Cathedral. This is a 3D of how it will look like. This is a 5,000 seater where we will be hopefully inaugurating the President of the Republic when it comes 7 January 2025. It should be ready for the inauguration of the President. These are all the tractors working over there. There's been a lot of controversy about the money, about the architect, Sir David Ajay, who recently spoke about it, and now this allegation being made against Reverend Kusi Boateng. There's been a lot of conflict over this National Cathedral matter. What does it mean? For some people who are spiritual, they talk about Tobias and all of those who opposed the building of the cathedral in the time of Nehemiah, and they say that there are some of them, they are modern day. This is how beautiful the cathedral will look. It's not just a cathedral, a place for worship or a place for church, but it's a whole enclave that is going to support our tourism industry. It's a whole enclave that is going to give us a presidential tour like you have in Washington, D.C., where on the inauguration of the president, he does a presidential tour, he goes through the House of Parliament, and he goes through all of those places, and that's what people are planning will happen in Ghana. I am a fundamental supporter of the establishment of a national cathedral to the glory of God, and also to change the spiritual positioning of our country for the future. This is what the national cathedral will look like. Now, though, these allegations are coming.